Hello and welcome to another episode of the Played on Repeat podcast, the podcast where I go back and listen to some of my favorite music and review it through the context of my current music tastes. This one is a special episode as it's the first one that I'm doing as a request from a listener, that listener being my dad. He requested that I go over the Quiet Riot's Mental Health album. This was the band's third studio album and it was released in 1983. The album had two hit singles, those being Come On Feel the Noise, which was a cover of a Slade song, and Mental Health. It was the band's first album to receive a worldwide release, as their first two albums were only released in Japan originally. The band's original guitar player was actually a young Randy Rhoads, who was recommended to Ozzy when he was looking for a guitar player for his solo career based on his work with Quiet Riot. With that all being said, this album as a whole doesn't have a ton of songs that I listen to consistently, but it has some hits. I'm going to call it a 7.5 out of 10 before this listen. Let's get into the review. Track 1, Mental Health, Bang Your Head. This song is probably the band's biggest original hit. The song peaked at number 31 on the Billboard Top 100 list. The song is simply about headbanging, something everyone does while listening to good rock music. For me personally, I have a connection to the song as it was like the second song I ever learned how to play on guitar, simply because of how easy the guitar part is. It's a very simple part, but it's a very good riff. The song opens with a drum fill, then a simple guitar riff, and a scream. The guitar in the song is once again very simple but very effective. The vocal performance in the song is also great. Kevin Dubrow had a very unique voice that really stood out in amongst the rest of the voices at the time. The song also has a very good solo. The song goes out on all the instruments, all abruptly stopping. The song was 5 minutes and 16 seconds, and like I said, I think it's the band's best. It's a great way to start this album, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. Track 2, Come On Feel the Noise. So, like I said earlier, this one is a cover of a Slade song, and it's basically just a sex anthem when it comes down to it. The song opens with drums and singing for a second before the rest of the band comes in. Then we're immediately taken to the main riff and a chorus. The song is a fun anthem when you don't pay attention to the lyrics. Like obviously, the lyrics are fine, but it's a very anthemy song. Once again, has another good solo, and to me, just like the first song, the standout of the song is Kevin Dubrow's vocals. The song just fades out while chanting continues, and the lead guitar part is still happening. This one's also a very good one for the band. For most, very good one for the band. For most people, I feel like this is a lot of people's favorite from the band, but I give Mental Health a little bit of a one up on it, seeing as it's an original tune. But with that being said, for me, this and Bang Your Head, Mental Health, whatever you want to call it, it's kind of 1A, 1B as far as the band's best songs. So I'm going to also rate this one a 9 out of 10. Track 3, Don't Want to Let You Go. This song seems to be about a man who wants to be with a woman, but she doesn't want to be with him. It talks about another man, and it says the other man plays her song. It then said that his own wish becomes the other man's delight. The song opens with a more clean guitar part and bass. The drums join soon. In this one, it's like Kevin is trying to sing cleanly, like he's trying to sing in a ballady kind of way, but he's not able to pull it off in this song. The song has a nice simple beat and simple rhythm. It just also has a decent guitar solo. It's nowhere near as good as the one in the song before the first from the album. Once again, the song just fades out. This one was 4 minutes and 40 seconds, and honestly, from the first two songs to this one is a steep decline. I won't say it's horrible or anything like that, but it's not something I would come back to anytime soon. For me, it's a 6 out of 10. Track 4, Slick Black Cadillac. This one is a remake of a song from the band's second album. The song tells the simple story of a man running from the cops in his Cadillac. The song opens with just the words slick black Cadillac. Man, that is hard to say quickly. I don't know how he sang it, let alone said it. Then a more chugging riff than we've heard so far comes in. You can really tell this one was written by Randy Rhoads, guitar wise. Like it feels much more like Randy than the first three songs of the album. It's a very catchy song. The song really has a good, cool interlude part in the middle of the song before they get into the second half of the song. Song goes out on just the sound of a car honking. This one was 4 minutes and 14 seconds, and they've gotten back on track with this one. I won't say it's quite as good as the first two songs, but it's a pretty good one, and it's one that I would come back to every once in a while. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Track 5, Love's a Bitch. This song explores the raw pain and frustration that love can bring. It portrays love as something that can turn sour and leave scars in its wake. The song opens with an acoustic guitar and an almost Robert Plant sounding intro scream from Kevin. I really loved the intro vocal part from Kevin in this song. In this one, he's able to rein in the rasp of his voice better and better execute the ballady type of vocal he was going for earlier. This song has probably my favorite solo of the album to this point. It's a great one. The song goes out on another high note from Kevin and a small guitar lead part. Then they hit a chord and it's over. This one was 4 minutes and 10 seconds, and it's another pretty good one. I am fortunate to be in a very happy, loving marriage nowadays, but I kind of wish I knew about this song in my younger years when I was going through breakups, so I could have had this song blaring as I was riding down the street with my windows down. It's a great breakup song. With that being said, this one's another 8 out of 10 for me. Track 6, Breathless. This song is one of those that I can't find any information online for. Overall, finding stuff on Quiet Riot songs seem to be more difficult than any of the other episodes I've done, but that makes sense because they're not this giant metal phenom that like Metallica, Iron Maiden, Ozzy are. There just isn't as much information available online for them. The song starts with a drum fill and a riff that reminded me of Danger Zone in a way. There's also a nice bass line in this track. It's one of those gallopy bass lines similar to what we heard recently with Iron Maiden, which it was really weird to hear from this band, but I very much enjoyed it. I'm huge on bass lines. Also has another good solo. I feel like they got a very good guitar player off the back of losing Randy for the band. Of course, he is no Randy, and at parts, in places during these solos, it almost sounds like maybe he is kind of trying to be Randy, but he definitely holds his own. We end on another fade out. This one was 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and it's another fun one that I did enjoy. It's not the best song of the album, but it's one that I did have fun with. And I could have fun with in the future, and I could see myself listening to it on occasion. It's a 7.5 out of 10 for me. Track 7, Run for Cover. This one seems to be kind of a cult classic among Quiet Riot fans from forums and stuff that I saw online. It's mentioned as people's favorite song from the album outside of the first two tracks, which are obviously the band's biggest. Those are going to be everybody's favorites. But the song starts with another drum fill and it has another good bass line. This one seems slightly heavier than the rest of the album in the instrumentation. There's a cool like drum solo part in the middle just before the guitar solo, which is an interesting one, where the guitar player pulls out some tricks he hasn't shown to this point. Some stuff that I really like hearing from him after me just saying that he kind of in parts tries to sound like Randy. He pulls out some tricks that I don't feel like Randy did. So I really enjoyed that he did that. There's another drum solo spot at the end, and that happens just before we hit a high note and a bit of a guitar lead, and then we go out. This one was 3 minutes and 38 seconds, and I agree with it being kind of the best of the rest, or the best song outside of the two hits. Um, it just had a different feel to it than the rest of the album. Uh, outside of the two hits, like it felt more fleshed out in a way, I guess you would say. It more of a complete thought of a song. With that all being said, it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. Track 8, Battle Axe. This one is just a very short instrumental piece. It's just a guitar solo that kind of, in some ways, sounds like a guitar warm up, like exercise. Um, I really don't understand why it was included, and it almost seems like just a way to add an extra track to get them to 10 tracks on the album. I don't know if that's the case. I couldn't find any information that would say that, but that's kind of just what it felt like to me. It was a minute and 37 seconds, and I've already given my thoughts on it to this point. It's a 4 out of 10. Track 9, Let's Get Crazy. This is another one that doesn't have any information online, but from the lyrics, it seems to be another sex anthem type of a song type of thing. The song opens with another one of Kevin's screams and another simple riff, followed by more loud bass and drum fills. This song seems really similar in a lot of ways to Bang Your Head, like it was almost like two songs came out of the same idea, specifically in the chorus. This one, again, has a cool solo, and even though it is short, it's a decent solo. The song fades out as the bass gallops along and another solo starts. Track was 4 minutes and 7 seconds, and it was another decent one. Nothing special, but definitely good filler for the album. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Track 10, Thunderbird. This one was dedicated by Kevin to his friend and former member of Quiet Riot, Randy Rhoads. Most of the song was written before Rhodes' death, but Kevin added the final verse after the tragic plane crash that claimed his friend's life. The song opens with piano and Kevin singing cleanly again. The piano stays throughout the song. That makes it the most ballady of the ballad songs on the album. Although we do have some guitar fill parts at times, like some lead parts that kind of go in and out. The song does have a good emotional sounding guitar solo that I was a fan of. It was a slower solo, more melodic. The last verse does kind of hit home and make the song feel more personal to Randy as well. And I feel like that's kind of what Kevin was going for whenever he added that to the song. He wanted to make the song feel like a tribute to his friend, and I feel like he did a good job of doing that. We go out on another fade out. This one was 4 minutes and 43 seconds, and it was an emotional one. I'd say the best of the ballad type songs on the album, just because of the meaning attached to it mainly. That makes it an 8.5 out of 10 for me. That all added up and averaged out brought me to a 7.6 out of 10 on the album. Once again, very close to how I originally felt about it before this listen. Overall, it's a good album that is blemished by one less than good song and a track that just was added to me to give them 10 tracks on the album. That being Battle Axe with the weird guitar warm-up exercise song that was a minute and a half long and didn't belong on the album whatsoever. But, like I said, that blemished it. But overall, it's a good album. It's just held back by those two little things. Now that we've finished, thank you once again for listening. And please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Give it a like if you enjoyed, and share the podcast with a friend if you're listening on Spotify. Also, I just want to bring up that I'm thinking about possibly maybe doing my regular episodes on Mondays and maybe doing like a top 10 for artists and bands that I do enjoy that don't necessarily have albums that I want to cover, but they have individual songs that I love. Possibly a lot of country guys, some other rock guys, stuff like that. But I'm thinking about doing that on Fridays, just to kind of pad out my schedule and give me some more content to come up with. And I feel like that's a good way to go about it. Once again, if you have any suggestions or recommendations or requests, send them my way. I'm sure I'll get to them. And I think I've covered everything. Thanks again for listening. Bye.